Something's coming. Do you hear it? Can you see it? Trundling across the common, following the old hollow-ways, sauntering down the lane, rocking up into the market square, laying out its wares. It reels you in with mysteries, trades with you fantastic tales, spins for you fascinating stories. Stories like the haunted pound stretcher, flying saucers, poisoners and body snatchers, haunted woodland, and the secret tunnels beneath our feet. Weird in the Wade is on its way, a podcast that explores everything that is weird, wonderful, and a little off-kilter in the town of Biggleswade in Bedfordshire. If you like your spooky stories told with a dash of historical context, or you like your history with a pinch of the paranormal, then this is the podcast for you. Never miss an episode. Subscribe to Weird in the Wade wherever you're listening now.
Japan isn't just temples and cherry blossoms. It's haunted castles, urban legends, yokai lurking in the shadows, and true crime cases where something doesn't quite add up. Supernatural Japan dives into Japan's darkest folklore, real history, and mysteries that still disturb the present. From ghosts of ancient warriors to modern legends whispered online, every episode blends culture, crime, and the unexplained. If you love spooky history, Japanese folklore, and stories that stay with you long after the episode ends, search for Supernatural Japan. Because in Japan, the past is never really gone.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast that ushers you aboard for some spooky sailing. I'm your resident medium, Jennifer, and tonight I want to discuss one of the most famous haunted destinations you can visit in America, the RMS Queen Mary. I'll share a little of the ship's history with you, some of her well-known hauntings, and a few chilling first-person accounts from those who stepped aboard the Queen Mary. After the spooky, stay for the spiritual. As your medium, meet me at my seance table for a message from the spirits. This session could have deep meaning for you. Please gather near to find out. But first, grab a life vest. The Queen Mary is boarding right now. Before she became one of the most famous haunted locations in the world, the RMS Queen Mary was a marvel of human engineering. Launched in 1934, the Queen Mary was built to be the crown jewel of the Cunard Line, a luxury ocean liner designed to carry the wealthy and powerful across the Atlantic in Art Deco splendor. During World War II, she was repurposed as a troopship, painted gray and nicknamed the Gray Ghost. She then carried over 800,000 soldiers and is believed to have played a critical role in the Allied war effort. History aboard the Queen Mary wasn't always glamorous. Accidents happened, lives were lost, some documented, others whispered about. There was a fatal collision with another ship, crew members crushed by heavy doors, children who drowned in the pools, and wartime deaths that were never fully recorded. Today, the Queen Mary rests permanently in Long Beach, California, no longer sailing, but never truly at rest. She is said to be home to dozens of spirits, and many believe the ship itself remembers everything. Over the years, guests, staff, and paranormal investigators have reported encounters with a number of reoccurring figures. You might see a specter of a young girl in the second-class pool area, often associated with the name Jackie, whose laughter and footsteps can still be heard today. There's said to be a sailor dressed in his 1930s era uniform, frequently spotted near the engine room and the boiler areas. Ghostly children are said to be heard playing in the hallways, despite no children being present. And a woman in white is sometimes seen dancing alone or standing silently in doorways. There's disembodied voices, knocking, and the sound of running water, especially late at night. Many of these paranormal experiences happen during guided ghost tours when the ship grows quiet, the lights dim, and the past feels closer than it should. And now I want to share 3 first-hand stories, experiences reported by guests who stepped aboard expecting a tour or historical visit and left with something much more unexplainable. I stayed overnight on the Queen Mary in May of 2009. I had heard ghost stories for years, and I was determined to experience something, especially near the swimming pool, which is said to be one of the most active areas on the ship. The moment we arrived and unlocked our door, I noticed a small, dried yellow flower lying on the floor outside our room. I picked it up and set it on the vanity. Almost immediately, I felt intensely nauseous, like motion sickness. I actually asked my husband if the ship was moving. He laughed it off, but the feeling was strong and sudden. Later, while exploring the ship, I smelled cigar or pipe smoke on the promenade deck, strong and unmistakable, yet no one was smoking. The smell vanished as quickly as it appeared. That night, we joined the Twilight Tour. In the wheelhouse, I saw a man walk past the doorway. He was dressed in a deep gray naval-style uniform. When I stepped into the hall to follow him, he was gone. Later, I learned that during World War II, everything aboard the Queen Mary, including uniforms, was painted gray when she was known as the Gray Ghost. At the swimming pool, several of us, including the guide, kept seeing movement out of the corner of our eyes. As I lingered behind to take photos, I suddenly saw water in the empty pool. It shimmered and moved in the deep end. I pointed it out to my husband, but when I looked again, it was gone. That night in our room, things escalated. Around 12 a.m., I woke to the sound of heavy, raspy breathing inside the room. I sat up and saw a dark figure standing near the vanity. The moment I focused on him, he melted into the narrow shadow on the wall. I smelled cigar smoke. Around 2 a.m., I awoke again to hear footsteps circling the bed. They stopped directly in front of me. No one was there, but the smell of cigar smoke returned briefly before fading. An hour later, I woke to the sound of our door handle rattling, followed by faint voices. I turned on the light, just in time to see the bathroom door handle moving back and forth as if someone was trying to open it. And then it stopped. In the morning, we discovered one of the heavy porthole windows was wide open. Neither of us had opened it, and I know I would have heard it happen. After breakfast, we checked out shortly after. I don't know what it is I experienced that night on the Queen Mary, but I'll never forget it. I've never been someone who jumps straight to the paranormal. I always try to debunk it first. Dust, light flares, camera blur, before calling something a ghost. Orbs and mist don't impress me easily. That's why what we captured on a ghost tour aboard the Queen Mary still unsettles me. My boyfriend and I joined a tour expecting nothing more than a fun, creepy experience. When we reached the pool area, where a little girl named Jackie is said to haunt, we took a few photos, more out of curiosity than expectation. We were hoping, jokingly, to catch something small, a blur, a shadow. We checked the photos right after the tour ended and saw nothing unusual. A week later, back home, my mom was flipping through our vacation pictures when she suddenly stopped. "Who is that?" she asked. That's when we saw it. There were 2 photos taken seconds apart. In the first, part of the poolside is blocked by someone's arm. In the next, the view is clear, and there, on the slide, is a face. It's yellow-orange in color, positioned upside down as if it's sliding backwards. The details are unmistakable. Eyes, a nose, and a wide, unnatural grin. Not blurred, not vague. We didn't edit the photo. We didn't enhance it. And somehow, all of us missed it the first time we looked. The image still gives me chills, not because it's dramatic, but because it's so clear. I don't know what it is. I don't claim to know. But I do know this. It wasn't something I was looking for. And that's what makes it impossible to forget. This encounter with the supernatural happened aboard the Queen Mary about a year after my first experience there. A roommate and I had gone down to the ship for the day. I wanted to buy a dress I had seen in one of the boutiques, and afterwards we were wandering onto one of the guest cabin decks. 2 long hallways ran parallel to each other, connected by smaller cross hallways. The area was unnervingly quiet. We didn't pass a single person. As we walked, one of the smaller connecting hallways immediately felt different, heavy, wrong. I was carrying a small handheld camera. Looking at the wall with my naked eye, I saw nothing unusual, just light spilling from a wall sconce. But when I lifted the camera and looked through the viewfinder at the same spot, I saw a face, not human, something distorted, watching. I asked my roommate to look through the viewfinder and tell me what she saw. She saw nothing. We continued down the hall and then turned around to head back. When we passed the same cross hallway again, I deliberately didn't look into it. I just kept walking. That's when I felt it. Something floated or flew out of the hallway behind me. A crushing black weight settled onto my shoulders, like pressure meant to stop me from leaving. Breathing became difficult. The presence felt aggressive, unwelcome. I stopped walking. I took a deep breath and said out loud, "I acknowledge that you're here. I acknowledge you're trying to contact me, but back off." Seconds later, the weight lifted. I could breathe again. "Thank you," I said, and walked away. It didn't follow me. Whatever was there stayed in that hallway, and I didn't look back. When we talk about hauntings, we often imagine spirits as figures Faces, voices, footsteps in empty hallways. But what if that's only part of the story? Maybe places remember. The RMS Queen Mary carried thousands of lives across the ocean. Joy, fear, longing, exhaustion, loss, all contained within steel walls and narrow corridors. During wartime, she held the collective anxiety of soldiers who didn't know if they'd be returning home. In quieter years, she absorbed private griefs, sudden deaths, and moments that ended too quickly. Trauma doesn't always disappear when the body does. Some believe that intense emotional experiences leave energetic imprints, like grooves worn into the fabric of a place. Not conscious spirits, but memories replaying themselves. Doors that slam because they once were slammed. Footsteps that echo because they once ran in panic or play. Laughter that returns because joy too can imprint. And perhaps that's why so many people experience something there without seeing anything at all. A pressure in the chest, a sudden sadness, a feeling of being watched. The Queen Mary no longer sails, but she's not finished moving. She drifts through time instead, carrying echoes of everyone who ever stepped aboard. Looking for a hauntingly unique podcast this spooky season? Listen to I Talk to Ghosts for chilling ghost stories, genuine in-studio medium readings, and a virtual seance table where the spirits have an opportunity to speak directly to you. Find I Talk to Ghosts on all the fine podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Happy haunting. Welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have a message from the spirits this evening. Thank you for joining me at my seance table. As I work tonight, I have with me, and I'm wearing lilac quartz in the form of a beautiful bracelet I recently came across. I had never heard of lilac quartz before, but it is a lot how you would picture it to be. I'm happy to post a picture of any of the crystals or herbs that I work with on perhaps our Facebook group, since this is currently an audio podcast and you might want to see these things sometimes. But while working with lilac quartz, it is said to aid in clairsentience, clairvoyance, and clairaudience. So let me see what I pick up tonight as I reach out to the spirit realm for you. Okay, I'm gonna clear my mind, open the space for spirit to come close. Okay, I have an older gentleman coming through. This feels like uncle, brother, father energy. I know we can be more than one thing. In life, he was kind of cranky. He had some good qualities, and you always felt like, oh, it's just such a shame how negative and grumpy he always is. But he's saying he was in a lot of pain. And that can color your perspective quite a bit. And he's like, I know you felt bad for me. So he really wants you to know that he's transcended that and has a oneness and a clarity that he didn't get to have in the life that you knew him. And he's like, oh, if you had known me when I was younger, I was very imaginative and I'd like to build and make things and see how things worked. And perhaps you knew those stories too, so you were always just, what happened to this man? He's saying he took joy in working in his backyard. While it feels like his passing was a while ago, he's showing me a very old console TV that would sit on the floor and his slippers and socks. I thought it would be fun to work with a little clairaudience tonight and see if I could pick up on any sounds associated with him. And what I'm hearing a buzzing from a streetlight, and it also like a clinking of like a chain link fence that gets moved a little bit in the wind. Oh, maybe a flagpole too, a flagpole. This clinking feeling of metal. And a lawnmower. He did say he liked working in his yard. And I hear his cough. He has this cough about him, kind of deep in his throat. And he would shuffle a little bit. He mentioned those slippers. The heel would shuffle a bit when he walked. This was an interesting exercise. All right, his message for you tonight. This very much feels like you have some upheaval going on in your life right now, and it is very doom and gloom. And he is saying, keep your eye on your goal. If you want a happy household where you can create memories and cherish them as time goes on, you're definitely in the right to dismantle whatever you need to in order to get to that space in your life. So he wants to encourage you to stay strong, keep going. And he's making a joke to find a place with good lighting. Like your current place had harsh lighting in it that you hated. So yes, work towards creating a home for yourself, work towards creating a life for yourself, and make sure there's good lighting. It feels like he understood like how to install fixtures in houses and was handy in his own house and took care of his own things. So it definitely comes with that feeling of you gotta change stuff that doesn't work for you. If something is really awful and bothers you, you need to change it and keep going. Wow, that is a strange metaphor for him to come up with, but perhaps that way of thinking is something that you can understand. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much. I hope these messages have reached you and connected for you. And I am so happy that I could help make that happen. Thank you. And with that, dear listener, we have reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you enjoyed my spirit work this evening, as well as that history of the Queen Mary and the ghostly experiences that have been encountered there. Have you visited the Queen Mary yourself and have a personal paranormal experience you'd like to share? I would love to hear it, so please reach out. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.
Hey there, I'm Susie and I'm the host of Beyond the Ferns podcast. Each week, I take you beyond the headlines into the stories that linger long after the news fades. From chilling true crime and unsolved cold cases, to paranormal encounters, cults, and extraordinary survival stories. It's a little bit of everything for everyone. Whether you're drawn to mysteries, fascinated by the strange and unexplained, or simply love a good story, I focus on the truth, the details, and above all, justice for the victims and survivors. So buckle up. Things are about to get a little scary. Follow Beyond the Ferns wherever you get your podcast. Thanks, y'all.
Welcome to Weekly Creep, a mostly paranormal podcast hosted by me, Adam, And me, Dulce.
We like to talk about all things strange and spooky.
We've covered everything from werewolves to poltergeists, survival stories, and even a little weird nature because why not? We also enjoy reading listener stories and talking about movies, books, TV shows, and games that we're really into at the moment.
Or going to spooky places and chatting about our experiences, like when I may have received a telepathic image of a little ghost girl at the Stanley Hotel.
Or when I heard high heels walking around my home in the middle of the night.
Anyway, there's over 100 episodes of Weekly Creep already on our feed, so look us up wherever you get your podcasts and get caught up.